Hello, this is Tia, and welcome to another video. Today we're doing another couple chapters in Hermitcraft, A Terrible Price. This is Mumbo's perspective. Might as well say that. This whole book is in Mumbo's. This whole story is in Mumbo's perspective. It's a mini novella. It's not exactly a novel. Oh yeah, I haven't been writing novels. I'm just mini stories. Not really mini stories. Anyway, that's not important. Basically, if you haven't read the other few chapters, be sure you do so. The playlist is in the description if you want to check that out. Before continuing this video, or you can wait till after. I don't care. It's up to you. You guys can let me know what you guys think in the comments if you choose to, and yeah. If there's anything you want to say while listening to the video, yeah, just let me know. Yeah, we should get right into this. Chapter 5. Mumbo followed his friend, who was a few dozen meters ahead of him as he clutched his rockets firmly, trying not to lose sight of him. He couldn't see his friend's face as Mumbo glanced behind him, seeing Caden still right behind them as they neared Scar's base. The hermit looked back, eyes wide, as he saw half of the front wall of the base had caved in, the edges crumbling, smoke spillowing out of the gaping hole as if it had been blown to pieces by something big. "Do you think he could be inside?" Green asked as he landed on top of the roof, taking out the communicator again. Mumbo landed right beside him as he glanced over the rim, seeing a laser shatter through one of the windows as he heard a scream inside. Before Mumbo could get a word out, Green jumped off the roof. He landed on the ground below, just as someone flung out of the window. The ground beneath the hermit shook as a large illuminator charged through the wall, grabbing the form out of midair. "Scar!" Green, eyes wide, scrambled backward as the machine landed on the damp earth as the hermit charged toward the machine. Mumbo jumped off the roof as well, as he noticed the red eye beginning to glow as Scar struggled against the grip of his claws. Pain in his expression as Green tried to jump onto the machine in an attempt to distract it. "Help!" Scar pleaded, screaming as the machine blasted its red laser, hitting him square in the chest, and temporarily blinded Mumbo as he covered his eyes in surprise. "Green, be careful!" Mumbo warned, as he found something lying on the earth, a piece of rubble that had flown from the building. He grabbed it, throwing it at the machine. The laser stopped as the hermit lowered his hand. The machine's attention was now redirected to him. "Mumbo, run!" Green rushed to his feet, having been knocked off the machine as Caden pushed Mumbo out of the way. The illuminator charged toward him as Mumbo launched him. The illuminator charged towards him as Green launched himself onto the back of the machine, holding a sword in his hand. Mumbo could hear Scar still whimpering in pain as he kept the machine distracted, looking away for a moment just as he heard a gasp of surprise. "Green!" Caden called in alarm, as Mumbo whirled his head around, just in time to see his friend fall backward off the machine as it stopped in its tracks, not moving as it held Scar still in its claws. Mumbo watched as the machine turned toward his friend. A scream of his own caught in his throat as Caden charged at the machine, piercing it with his sword between where the head and neck were connected as its head rolled off his body, finally releasing Scar from his grasp as the hermit crumpled to the ground. "I'm okay," Green said quietly when Caden quickly went to check on him. His face was ghostly pale, tears filling his eyes as he said it. Mumbo managed to catch up to the escort as he knelt next to him. "What happened?" Mumbo asked him quickly as he looked his friend up and down. "I accidentally touched the button," Green said hoarsely. "It didn't drain me. It didn't." Tears began to fall down his cheeks. His eyes looked over to the form of Scar, lying on his side unconscious. Mumbo watched the screen scrambled over to his friend, just as he heard footsteps running behind them. The hermit looked up to see Caleb running out of the ruins of the house alongside the other two escorts with him. "No!" Green Caleb's desperate voice cried as he managed to reach the group. As Mumbo stood up, he watched the boy take out the medical kit he had stored as he examined the hermit. The eliminator had fallen to the ground moments earlier. Its machinery just piled on the side as Mumbo walked over. Is there any way I can help? Mumbo asked the boy calmly, trying his best not to think about what had just happened. Green was holding Scar's head in his hands, tears still falling down his face as the boy picked out some things. Can you hold the towel for me? Caleb offered, holding up the object as Mumbo knelt next to him, taking the towel and holding it as Caleb poured some regeneration on the towel. I think I'll call for backup in case more of those things come back, one of the escorts reported. Do that, Caleb agreed quickly, taking the towel from the hermit as he rolled the unconscious hermit onto his back, avoiding the hermit's eye as he gently put the towel over the other hermit. It's a bit confusing when there's a lot of hermits around, you know. We need to get out of here, Green admitted, in almost a whisper, finally able to speak again as he looked up at the boy, then to his escort, who was keeping watch. If those things come back, he's going to be okay, Caleb said gently, scooting closer to the traumatized hermit, giving him a side hug. I'm sure we can get this place patched up and have the backup here in no time. No, Green whispered again, wiping a tear from his eye as he lowered Scar's head down. We need to go. Where? Mumbo asked, with a frown, as he saw the man who'd walked off running back towards them. I just spotted 2 more illuminators just north of us, the man reported quickly. We need to evacuate. Follow me, Caleb said confidently as Caleb got to his feet. Green stumbled just behind him as the boy cleaned up his box and went to get Scar. No, let me, Mumbo insisted as putting a hand on the boy's shoulder. We might need you to have your hands free. Okay, the boy nodded, stepping away as Mumbo scooped up the hermit. Noticing the boy grabbing him firmly by the arm, rockets in hand. He could see Caden do the same as the group launched up into the air. The hermit looked, glancing down as he saw 2 eliminators just enter the clearing, not seeing them yet. It's been close, as the hermit swallowed. Where's Jelly? Green asked nervously at the group, glancing over her shoulder. She ran off into the woods, one of the escorts reported. It'd be best to leave her be for now, so the eliminator isn't targeting felines, luckily. I'll go for her later. Okay, Green replied, his eyes not leaving the unconscious hermit in Mumbo's arms as he tightened his grip, not daring to risk letting him go. Scar's face was deathly pale, as the hermit noted his features were peaceful. At least he wasn't experiencing pain in that moment. Chapter 6. Mumbo spotted where they were headed minutes later, still holding the unconscious form of his friend. As he looked down at the building surrounding the wall, he could see someone standing on top of the wall, keeping watch as they spotted them approaching. He couldn't quite see who it was at first until they got closer. No one tried to stop them as the group landed on the other side of the wall. Do you think those things followed us? Mumbo asked Caden, looking over at the man hopefully. Not from what I could see. Caden said thoughtfully as someone jumped from the wall, running toward them. I can take them inside if you need me to, Blake said matter-of-factly, now seeing the state of Scar and Green's still pale face. So it had regained some color during their journey. We'll keep an eye out for trouble, one of the 2 escorts Caleb had with him stated simply. The hermit didn't say anything, as the cause members dealt with the emergency. Blake and Caleb leading the 2 hermits into gym space as they went right toward the stairs. Do you think the hidden room might be better? Green asked Blake curiously. It would, but we were planning to have your friends escorted back to their bases today, the boy reported. We found some people who could keep an eye on them for a couple days back. That's good. Fair, Green replied with a nod. Following Mumbo up the stairs, the other hermit followed the escorts. Where are the others? Impulse, Gem, and Pearl are with your friends downstairs at the moment, helping them get ready, Blake said matter-of-factly. I should probably be down there, but Matthias told me he could handle it and would call me if he needed help. So you don't know what happened? Mumbo asked simply. The boy shrugged. Matthias only told me to keep an eye out and let him know when it's good to come back up with the group when they're done. What's going on, though? Caleb asked. First, I get a warning from Kaden to make sure Scar is safe, and next thing I know, 2 eliminators were attacking the building. At least, at the time I thought there was only one, until Scar called for help. By the time I got there, he managed to signal to me that he needed help. Green reassured him gently. I got there just in time. I'm glad, the boy smiled meekly. I just wish I could have done better. You acted quickly when we needed you, Bubba pointed out. That regeneration potion helped with the pain at least. For now, Caleb nodded. I shouldn't have left him on his own. The guys would have been able to handle that eliminator fine. We all learn from our mistakes, Blake said calmly, putting a hand on the boy's shoulder. Luckily for you, you have another chance. Bubba nodded sadly. Sorry. You helped us get here. He's safe now, thanks to you, Grant pointed out, mildly cheerful, as the Blake opened an empty room, gesturing for the 2 hermits to go through. I guess that's true, Caleb said with a smile. Keep an eye out here for me at the door. Blake nodded simply. No one's getting in here, in or out without me knowing, the other boy said confidently. Blake smiled as the hermit slipped into the room. Bumbo spotted one of the 2 beds in the room as he went over to it, agreeing pulling back the covers as he laid the unconscious hermit on the bed. His face looked much paler in the artificial light than it had in the natural morning sunlight, as he heard Green stifle a small whimper. A whimper. I don't know why it sounded like that, but it did. The hermit stepped back to allow Blake to take care of the situation, taking out the medical box as he took out some bandages and took off the towel. Now dry, off the hermit. Somehow it hadn't fallen off during the flight, as the young boy quietly bandaged him up, taking care of any cuts, bruises, and large burn on the hermit's chest, where the machine had blasted him. Will he be okay? Green asked after a long moment of silence, as Blake finally leaned back, standing as he brushed himself off. He should be, this time, Blake said softly, looking down at the sleeping hermit. I don't know if we have that kind of time, Green admitted, looking over at Mumbo as he said it. Mr. A knows something happened, and he won't be happy we thwarted him. We can't protect everyone. We can only do our best, Blake replied simply, as he went for the door. Now if Caleb's stationed out here to keep a close eye on Scar, he'll be safe here. I hope so, Mumbo frowned, as the escort nodded, wishing them well, as he left the room. The hermit taking a seat on the spare bed, as Green did the same. Are you sure you don't need anything, like strength, G? I told you, it didn't drain me on my energy, Green said calmly, shaking his head as he looked over at the sleeping form of his friend. You didn't do anything. But you looked like you saw a ghost, Bubba pointed out. And you looked terrified. It's just didn't leave. How did you know? Grumbot, Green whispered. Grumbot told me to go. He told me. He showed me. Tears filled the hermit's eyes as he looked away. Green, what did you see? Mumbo insisted, putting a hand on his friend's shoulder. Mr. A did something horrible to him, Mumbo. Something so... Green gasped as he sighed again, shaking his head, trying to hide his tears from the hermit. He thinks he heard all those people. Those people the Eliminator destroyed. He thinks he went back on his promise to you and then he's... Green let out a sob as Mumbo wrapped an arm around him. He said he was sorry. He doesn't want to hurt anyone. He doesn't have a choice. He hates it, Mumbo, but he can't resist it. It's breaking him. Mr. A's breaking him. We need to stop him then, Mumbo said firmly, straightening as his friend looked up at him. How? He whispered, uncertainty filling his features. You were able to reach him, Mumbo pointed out. Even with Mr. A's attempt to destroy him, you still got through, which means I probably can too. We don't know where he was taken to, Green insisted, pulling away from his friend as he stared down at the wood floor. Then let's find out, Mumbo said matter-of-factly. We've got people here who can help us, right? Now let's take this opportunity to shut this man's plans to the ground. York already did. Green nodded solemnly. He didn't want to hurt Scar. He tried so hard. But the other code overpowered him. He's losing control. We can still save him. We have to, Mumbo pressed firmly. He matters to all of us, even if he made mistakes in the past. We can stop this for good. Green managed to smile as he looked over at his friend. Who do we ask? I don't know, Mumbo admitted with a sigh. Green managed a little chuckle. The hermit watched his friend get to his feet as he pulled out his communicator. I know what to do, Green said now, standing more confident as he shifted his eyes to Scar for a brief moment. I'm with you all the way. I don't think I needed to say that, Mumbo replied, standing as Green put in some coordinates. He knew that they had a chance. Perhaps not a big one, but it was still one, nonetheless. Chapter 7? Yes. Okay, I'll be there in 5 minutes with the list, Beetle's voice replied over the small speakers. Green held the communicator in his hand as Mumbo listened. Green nodded, replying that they'd be waiting before pocketing the device as he met eyes with his friend. His friend. There's only one. There's only one that's awake. Wait. The others should be coming up soon, though we should probably hop downstairs and let Scar rest, Green said slowly. Mumbo stood up. I thought he was already standing, glancing over at the sleeping hermit. Nothing seemed amiss as he quietly agreed, following his friend out the door. They passed Caleb, his eyes meeting the hermit before he slipped into the room, closing the door behind him. I hope he doesn't blame himself for what happened, Mumbo told his friend calmly. Green shrugged. It's not his fault. I'm sure he knows that. He's being cautious at least. Mumbo nodded as he reached to the staircase at the end of the hallway, touching the railing as he stopped in his tracks. You could hear the muffled sound of voices below them. Turning to Green, who smiled. Mumbo followed his friend down the stairs after Green gestured for him to follow. The voices grew louder as the secret door from under the stairs opened, as the other hermits trickled out. Mumbo, Green! Impulse declared in surprise. I didn't expect to see you two here. Yeah, it was a bit last minute, Green replied hesitantly. He strained before adding, Did Matthias tell you anything about what happened? No, he wanted to tell us when we got up here, Jem said brightly, as the group walked into the main room. Is something wrong? Well, it's not great news, Green said nervously. Mr. A took something from me, that he wants to use to destroy us, Mumbo said matter-of-factly, looking over at Impulse at the end. He's already used it to attack Scar. Oh no! Pearl exclaimed with a gasp. Is he? We never managed to stop it in time before. Green trailed off, taking a seat, trying to avoid looking at anyone. What did he take? Mumbo Impulse asked with a frown as the girls took a seat as well. Mumbo took a seat next to Green, as the other hermit remained standing. The light coming through the window wasn't obscured by curtains as rays of golden light filled the room. Mumbo swallowed, looking over at Green, the hermit staring at the floor before Mumbo looked back at the others. He took Grumbot. What? How? He pulled out quickly, before hesitating, looking over at the girls. I thought you destroyed him if you tried to kill Scar. I never did. Mumbo sighed, shaking his head. I shut him down, but I couldn't destroy him. Instead, I secretly reprogrammed and repurposed him. I was hoping to fix whatever glitch had taken over him. I was so close to a solution. I didn't want to tell anyone because I didn't know if we tried to stab you. Impulse finished, raising an eyebrow. Yes, Mumbo admitted sadly. Who is Grumbot? Jem asked curiously. Remember, this is my own story. Jem and Pearl would not know who Grumbot is. I am breaking the fourth wall. What's going on now? Yeah, they do know. They do know who he is because they were fans before they joined Hermitcraft. But in this story, they would not know. So, yeah, it makes perfect sense. Now, anyway, end of fourth wall breakage. He's a supercomputer that has his thoughts and feelings, Impulse explained quickly. He was used as a campaign as part of a campaign several years back when we were looking for a mayor. Scar won and Grumbot wasn't having it. Scar had to resign and we scrapped the entire idea. Mumbo chuckled nervously. It got out of hand and we never spoke of what happened. What did Mr. A do to Grumbot? Pearl asked softly. Nothing good, Green said quietly, shaking his head sadly. Grumbot thinks he's broken Mumbo's promise of not hurting anyone else. He was forced to hurt Scar when he didn't want to. Oh. Jem gasped in horror. Do we know where he is? Impulse asked calmly, taking a step over to the window to peek out. I asked Speed to see if he could drop by with a list of coordinates for active hideouts so we could see where they could have taken him, depending on what base is closer. Yeah, the guys who came after me didn't seem to be carrying wings, Mobo said simply. So they could have easily drawn them on after. I wouldn't know. Start. Or we can try and follow one of those machines back to see where it goes, Pearl offered. It would have to be coming after one of our friends first, Green pointed out. I don't want to risk having someone potentially getting hurt if we can help it. We won't let the thing get a chance, Pearl said confidently. Green bit his bottom lip as he nodded. I was also thinking we could go back to Scar's base, see if we can find anything, like an input from Mr. A. In the code? Maybe, Impulse replied with a nod, looking away from the window just as a shadow flew overhead. By the way, beat up steer. As if on cue, the hermits all instinctively looked out the window to see Beat Up's landing with his escort just in front of the window. The hermit outside waved at them cheerfully as he went for the door. Mumbo turned his attention to the door as it opened and Beat Up walked in. Sorry for the delay. I was held up a little by a strange sciences. Beat Up chuckled with a small smile. What did he want? Jem asked him as she stood up. Beat Up shook his head. That's not important. He took something out of his pocket and walked over to Green, holding a piece of paper. I think this is what you asked for. Thanks. Green smiled as he took it from the hermit. Mumbo peeked over his shoulder as Green unfolded the paper, showing a list of coordinates with notes at the end of each one. Just looks like gibberish to me. Green shook his head, looking up at Mumbo. What about you? You might have to go with your second plan of action, Mumbo said blandly, to see if we can find a match. You know the protectors won't let us do that, Jem warned, as Mumbo looked over at her. Of course not. If there's a possibility of more of those things coming, Green pointed out. But Mr. A probably knows we aren't there anymore. Thanks to those cameras he installed on those machines. He wouldn't expect us to go back there. He could, especially if he knew what the machines were. The only way we could locate where Crumba might be, Mumbo said slowly. Maybe someone could take a look for us, Pearl offered. You did say you didn't want to risk anyone getting hurt, Green. I did, but I never said I couldn't go, Green suggested, standing up. Not alone, Impulse replied firmly, instinctively, stepping in front of the front door. But Green tried, hesitating as he looked at Mumbo. It might be the only way we can find where Grumpot might be, before Mr. A tries to make his next move. Where would he make his next move, though? Mumbo asked, looking out the window as he said it. Well, Scar was taken here, and we're all here, Green said slowly, straightening at the end. It'd be reasonable to suggest he might try to find us or someone more vulnerable. We've all been told to be on our alert, Vito's reminded him. So no doubt all the work we put in will slow any attempt down. Plus, even if he did attack here, there's a lot of us and only one of him. He can't possibly control every machine if he tried. He can watch and intervene when he needs to. Green shook his head. He did that the first time when the guys found me. Mumbo swallowed, nodding as he tried not to think of that moment, hearing Vito's telling the others that someone was trapped inside the machine, the eliminator trying to destroy itself by using the trap they had made for it. He shuddered at the thought, remembering how pale his friend's face looked. Sorry. How drained he appeared. He'd gone to get help, fearing the worst, yet he managed to pull through from that. Hell had. We need to try. At least send one of Scar's spare hired escorts to see if they can get the code from the machines, Mumbo said softly. One of them already wants to go back to pick up Jelly. Great! I'll go ask, Beat Up said quickly, jumping at the occasion to do something. Be right back. Don't be long, Impulse reminded him. We have to come up with a plan once we know where he is as well. I'll be back before you know it. Beat Up said cheerfully, running to the back door entrance as Green sat down again. Scar is okay after all that, right? Jem asked after a long moment's silence. He'll be okay. Caleb certainly won't let anything come for him again. Green smiled sadly. I just don't know why Mr. A attacked him first when there were so many others, including me, that he could go at. Maybe we could ask him when we get the chance. Mumbo chuckled. Green nodded slowly. Scar wasn't an easy target this time around. So why? I don't know, Pulse replied, with a frown. glancing out the window again. The other hermit said nothing as Mumbo looked down at his feet, staring at the hardwood floor beneath them. He could see a raggedy old rug in the middle of the room. As he waited, he wasn't sure exactly what he was waiting for. Beatles to get back? Answers? Grumble to find a way to get in touch with them? No matter. It wouldn't take too long. Hopefully, he wasn't sure. Hopefully. It wouldn't take too long, hopefully. I repeated the same thing. He wasn't sure how much time they had before Mr. A would make his next move, so they had to make the most of the time they did have. I'm going to end this here. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next one, whenever that might be.